1 second. So I'm Joel, and I want to thank everybody for coming. I think the first thing we want to talk about is Billy Howe. So Billy works for Georgetown. I think everybody here knows Billy, knows of Billy. He had some issues, some health issues, where he didn't feel well, and he went to the doctor, and then they sent him to the hospital, and they discovered some embolisms. one was over 6 centimeters. And they kept him, they did emergency surgery, he's in ICU, well now he's home recovering, and they think he'll be fine. He's really lucky. I don't know if you all know this, he had a brother that was on field 2 at Anderson that died at home plate. He died suddenly. And now when they look back, they think this is a hereditary issue, and they think maybe that's what caused his. So I think Billy's 73. Hopefully he's healthy as a horse. I don't know what we would do without him. I mean that. He does so much that no one sees, knows. I mean, he volunteers. He's a great guy. So I just want to get that out of the way. As far as here today, we haven't rehearsed. We've got a PowerPoint here. We'll go through the slides. I think some of the slides later on may not be in a great order, but we'll just talk about each one as we come to them. We hope to get this done in about 30 minutes, 40 minutes, something like that. This part of it. Then we have question and answers. We can talk about whatever you want to talk about. Let me go ahead and go to the first slide. So, with our company, you create a mission statement. And our mission statement is to provide an entertaining, friendly, and inviting, functional, and innovative experience of uncompromising quality that meets the competitive and recreational needs of the entire family. So, I know at the park you've heard me, or you've heard people call me an asshole, or things like that. And I'm fine with that, because we're gonna support this. I'm not worried about someone over here doing something that's criminal, and me being okay with it. It's not about that. We want to be able to bring, he's got his daughter here, we want to be able to bring kids. We want to be able to do things like that, because we're not just doing softball, we'll get to that later. We're doing other things, but at the end of the day, we want everybody to have a good time, be safe, enjoy it, have some competitive, get that thing out of your system, and go home safely. That's what we want, And we work closely with a lot of governmental departments, whether it's the Georgetown Town Council, the New Albany Floyd County Council, Mayor Gahan, City of New Albany Parks and Recreation, and now Clarksville Parks and Recreation, which we'll get to later. So we are held under a microscope. This isn't some guy that just rents a park and leaves a bunch of trash everywhere and gone. You don't see him again. We are constantly doing this. So we have to really be aware of what we do. And that not only falls on the teams, but it also falls on the employees. And we're going to set our bar a little higher than we have in the past. So that's that. So we've decided we're called GPE events, and it's Georgetown Park Entertainment Events is where it started, and it's evolved a little bit, and it'll continue to evolve. We're breaking our company down to 3 different divisions. The play division, because we're not just doing softball. We've got basketball in the works. We're going to have flag football. We're doing things like that. We do wiffle ball, and that's going to continue to grow. We've got the tech division, which Gary's kind of spearheading right now, unofficially. But we're looking at things like that. We're going to get into podcasting. We'll talk about all these things. We're going to get into the live stream and some things like that that's really going to separate us from other people. And then the fest division, which is festival. So the reason we started this initially was to run a craft beer festival in Georgetown. That's where this came from. And no one would think, well, it's all softball or all whatever. It's not that. It's a little bitty piece, and we'll talk about that. But we're doing things like farmers markets. We'll get to all that. But the fest division is probably the one that's probably closest to me moving forward. So, again, we're new, we're growing. The officers are, the current officers are such. You've got me, you've got Lindy, she handles all the money. You've got Gary, so he's one of our division managers. He runs that division, and whatever he says goes. I'm just here. So that's Gary's baby. We haven't got, I have someone for the fest division in mind. I think we're going to figure that out, and we'll go on. The tech division, we're still looking. Brandon's going to handle, we think of him as UIC for softball, but we spoke there, we texted the other day, and he's going to handle all things play division, whatever it is. So he's going to handle the officials or any sort of, probably at some point, scorekeepers, whatever you want to call them, you know what I mean, through the whole thing. So, and then Billy Howler handles all our facilities. He handles all of Georgetown. He's now consulting with, he'll help the other parts if they need it. So, again, I don't know what I would do without Billy or anybody for that matter. So, we'll start with the fest division. And some of the goals this year, you see this graphic over here, it's off the rails, Craft Beer Festival. You see when we started this, in 2019, that's when it kind of came to let's work on this. But there's a little more to it than just saying, hey, let's have a bunch of people, let's have 1,000 people at the park and sample beers, you know? There's a little more to it with permits and things like that, law enforcement. But we're working diligently to hopefully, this is gonna go in 2022, that's our goal, at the park, near the railroad tracks, is where the graphic came from, and the name. Brandon Sisson actually came up with that name, which is phenomenal, and Sands did the graphic. But this also allows us to move it to the flood wall in New Albany, which is also beside the railroad tracks, where they already do the festival. So that's something I'm working on. Georgetown Park Farmers Market. So we've talked to some people in that world, where we either have a weekly or we do them on off tournament weekends. We have a monthly farmers market or something like that. We're going to do a 5K down there. We're going to do a truck or treat, kids free. We have free kids movies. We've got the screen. We've got all the equipment. Now we're just going to employ it, you know. And then something that's also close to me is like a classic car show. So that's kind of what's going on. And then we're going to hopefully move some of this stuff up here to New Albany. So that's basically the Fest division as it sits now. And then the tech division. You see the podcast logo. So Gary and I have, we've got the entire setup to do a podcast. It's in our basement in the way. And that's going to go, we hope to have already had it going. Again, there's a little more to it with copyrighted music. We're trying to do it right. We want to do it right the first time. But something this will help when we have a tournament, like a slow pitch tournament, we're gonna podcast, go over the rules, prizes, any you know what I'm saying? We'll do that, maybe talk an hour, and it'll eliminate all the well, he said, she said, whatever, you've got it. And we're also gonna live stream that on YouTube, right, Gary? But we're also gonna have podcasts that aren't related to softball, or what we do in the play division. We're gonna go outside of that and talk to people that make it to festivals and things like that. A functional web page, Lindy's working on that. So our goal is this. When you pay through the site. Whether it's a league fee, anything like that. Balls you want, it goes right through there. When we do our leagues, we roster our leagues. So if you play on Team A, you can't play on Team B. And that's that. So the coaches will be able to go and it's interactive. They'll be able to submit the roster on there and they'll show it. Everyone can see them. Because when you got 20 teams in a league, it's hard to manage. It's really hard to manage. And that's kind of the thing. We'll have all the streams on their podcast, all the socials. Am I forgetting anything here? It's probably about it. Rules, schedules, just things like that.
Yeah, hopefully stats at some point.
Stats, yeah, so that's not on here. We may go, and this is important for the scorekeeper, we may go to Game Changer, which we scattered our leagues, not this past year, but the year before. People act like it's not popular, it's really popular. I can show you the inbox, it's popular. So we want to do that, and we can keep just a running total throughout the league. You know, we don't have to keep scorebooks anymore. We do it digitally. And hopefully we can employ that this year. That's what we're thinking. Maybe not in the spring, but definitely in the summer and fall. We've talked about developing an iOS and Android phone application, which would you download it and it'll have our brackets. It'll have whatever you need. We can update those, you know, like for the week or a festival, whatever we're doing. Podcast live stream we just talked about. And then the socials. We started that Facebook page. We really didn't mess with it, and we're already at 2,000 followers. We posted a video the other day that had 8,000 views in an hour of a youth event at Silver Street Park. So we're going to grow those. We're going to get also LinkedIn. Not on there, but we're going to go to LinkedIn as well. And we've got Facebook, we've got YouTube, and we've got Twitter going now. So when we talk about the play division, this is the one everybody's here for. We look at softball, and softball is the majority of what we do. And you've got youth baseball and softball, which is a small bit of what we do now. We'll grow. And this is going to be everything else. This is going to be the flag football, the basketball, or whatever else we're doing. So if you see the pie, and Gary can alter it, he can do whatever. This is kind of just how it is now. Or will be this year, I'm sorry. So still majority softball, but you've got the other things coming into play. And we'll talk about some partnerships in a little bit. To give us the slow pitch or the fast pitch in the baseball opportunity. So last year we were USSSA for 3 years, I think, USSSA GSL. And last year we started running TPA, an organization out of Kentucky. I'm the TPA Indiana State Director, and Gary's the TPA Southern Indiana Tournament Director, and Brandon is the Indiana State UIC. I think I got all that right. We got away from U-Trip. U-Trip wanted us to run. I felt like every weekend there was a lot of pressure to run all the time, and that's just really not what I'm about. So we wanted to get something else with more of a local feel, and that's what we did. We had great success. I think our first tournament had, what, 40 something? I mean,
38, I think.
38 teams. And then Shelton University again was over 50. We had some pretty good success. We're figuring it out. I think we're going to trim it down a little bit this year and try to run quality over quantity even more. And the TPA website is playtpa.com. And if you have a team, you go there and sanction. If you're a team coach, whatever, you can pay everything right through the site. So our leagues at Georgetown and Anderson Park, we run everything at Georgetown and Anderson Park. It's one league. There are 20 teams, 16 teams, 25 teams, whatever. And we division them out. Our schedule this year will be spring, summer, and fall men's on Thursday, spring, summer, and fall mixed on Fridays. That'll never change. We're running 35 and over men's on Monday nights in the summer. We're running women's on Monday nights in the summer. And then we're running, in conjunction with HRBT, which we'll talk about later, we're running a youth fast pitch league on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And that'll probably be solely at Georgetown Park. The 35 men's and summer women's, we don't know. Until we get the teams, we really don't know. I think we had 4 and 4 last year, when the first year we started it. So hopefully we'll get to 6 and 6 or something like that. The men's league, we play 4 fields, 4 games every week. It's all 3 fields there. It's in the field at Georgetown. We did a double elimination league tournament at the end of the year. I think it was 40 games in the league tournament. It was pretty cool. So that's our league schedule for this year. And then some of our tournaments. I think our 2 staples are the 7-game guarantee and the Shelton Mercy, along with the Wagons 3 with the marathon. We will run the Indiana State tournament locally and the Midwest World tournament before the TPA Super Bowl will be ran here in Clarksville, Bissing, Anderson, and Georgetown. I don't know if we can go through the Shelton Mercies. I think this is the 12th year we started that. 8 teams, 12 years ago, and gave away $1,000. Everybody talks about $1,000. We did that 12 years ago, and we lost money. It became profitable about 3 years ago because we did it right. We paid everybody. We always had, we had the good staff, and we never took a game. We lost money for 8 years, and we finally turned a profit. 7-game guarantee last year. Gary started that at Anderson and Georgetown. Ran 4 fields. All day, Saturday and Sunday, 40 teams or whatever. That's a really cool thing. The marathon, I think, is in its 3rd or 4th year this year. And basically, we start on Friday night at Georgetown. It's mixed co-ed. We had women's last year. I think it runs around the clock and usually finishes Sunday evening. So it starts Friday night. One thing we're going to do, we'll talk about in a little bit, we're going to start some of that in Anderson Park on Friday night to shorten that Sunday up a little bit. But those are some of our key tournaments. And here's the marathon. So it's Labor Day weekend. It's men's, women's, and mixed. It's at Georgetown and Anderson Park. We'll have people playing live music down there. We'll have bouncy houses. We'll have cornhole tournaments and 3-on-3 basketball tournaments. So the redoing Georgetown Park is a $5 million upgrade, and it's over a 3-year period. It got pushed back. We're about a year behind because of COVID. But the basketball court's dug. They'll be up fenced. It's a rubber court. It's really, really nice. We've got Jim Smith with Southern Indiana Cornhole. He's partnering with us to do some stuff throughout the year. We've done the bouncy houses before. Their kids love them. We're going to do live music on Friday or Saturday night, and everything else will be basically the same. We don't make money on that tournament. We keep it low cost, fun time. And this is the new one this year. So Harvest Homecoming, which is one of the bigger festivals in the Midwest, is held right here. It was canceled this year. And we hope it happens. It was canceled last year. We hope it happens in 2021. We're partnering with the City of Albany Parks and Recreation, Mayor's Office, and Develop Main Street, New Albany. We're going to have a Harvest Homecoming. They used to have a tournament years ago, but it wasn't like this. It was just a weekend tournament, So we're going to do a week-long tournament. It's going to be an industrial mix. So basically, if Kevin works at this company, anybody he works with can play, anybody he works with spouse can play, anybody he works with kids can play, or parents or whatever. It's going to be that. It's more of a fun. It's not competitive. It's more of a rec style. We'll probably have a team in it, this group. It'll be fun. We've got restaurant sponsors, this being one of them, the Standard, Farino's. We're going to try to get a tent in Anderson Park, and every day you're there, there'll be a restaurant there sponsoring. So whether it's the Exchange, Floyd County Brewery, the Standard, Tucker's, we'll have one each day. And then as the week goes on, we'll do the mixed tournament. That'll probably be more the weekend, the actual, just a regular co-ed type of tournament. So we'll start the industrial on Monday. Hopefully it gets done by like Friday, and then we'll just run a regular tournament on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I think this will be cool. This used to be like 50, 60, 70 team tournament. So we've got a lot of companies that said they put teams in it. So we just have to hope that the virus goes away. So when we talk about umpires and scorekeepers, this is it. In this part of the division, it's us together. And we've got, Bruce, we use what, about 5, 6 scorekeepers consistently? Just that you know, right?
3 or 4.
And then we've got more on our side, the younger kids.
Right.
And then umpires, Brandon, I think we used 25 different ones last year. I mean, probably over the season. We have a lot of games. When you consider our leagues are, 16 games a night for a whole year, basically, plus league tournaments and then all of our other tournaments. We offer, there's probably 2,000 opportunities to work for us throughout a year, give or take, when you consider indoor. And then we're not even talking about anything else we're going to branch out to. This is just diamond sports, per se. But we are looking for people. And then when we divide Indiana up, this graphic's not the best, but Gary's going to go to basically Columbus South. So that would include Bloomington, that would include Evansville. Then we want to get somebody in the central part of the state, which is mainly Indy. USSSA has a really good hold on Indy. We're not trying to go in there and whatever. But we'd like to run a tournament or two up there, And then we have somebody that goes north of Marion County and runs 1 or 2 up there. And at the end of the day, it's giving people a different look, especially up there, and it's also making our state tournament better. That eventually we can move the state tournament to a more centralized location if we have availability at the department. So here's our umpires. And we can talk wage and all those things. So if you go down, and we'll hit each one. So the wage. Last year we paid $35 a game for a weekend tournament. We got a lot of run runs. When you get some of these bigger, like the Shona versus an open bracket, early on you're going to have run runs. A lot of those games are 20, 30 minutes. So you have the opportunity to make some good money every hour, however you want to look at it. We have a lot of games. Uniform buyback. So I think Brandon mentioned that earlier. Any of our league stuff that you buy and wear, the white shirt and we don't have the league hats here yet. They're delayed from it's going to be about a week of COVID. If you do, Brandon's going to set a metric for a number of games. It's 50 games, let's say. I don't know what it is. We refund your money at the end of the year. So you get to keep your stuff. It's basically a free uniform, as long as you show up more for us. And the reason we're doing that, we had a lot of people want to do it. The next thing you know, I don't want to do it. Can I get my money? And it is what it is. If you want your money back, just do some games. And it's trying to make Brandon's job easier because everybody wants to work, and then all of a sudden nobody wants to work. So we're trying to get a good pool, a good dependable pool. And he's got a good start on that. Chad, our former UIC, Chad Marling, did a great job of that. Building that pool up. Scorekeepers. We're upping that wage this year to 12 a game. All right, so it's a 20% increase over last year. And we'll expect a little more back, you know what I mean? You guys do a great job, and I don't have them all here. But it's the same type of thing. Uniform buyback as well. So scorekeepers this year, we'll wear a shirt and a hat, Sarah, and we'll probably let you go on the hat. But we want to look better. Any gate worker, any scorekeeper, any umpire, we're going to be uniform. All right, there's perceived value, and we are going to do that. Showing up, I've been the worst, right? I just get out of bed, because a lot of times I don't leave the park till 3 in the morning. I'm back at 6, and I just put on the first thing I can find. So we're going to get a little better at that. And this also displays what we might be going to. All right, tablets and game changer and things like that, and getting away from the hard copy books. So here's what we just talked about. All this, I think this one says staff on the back. They all should. It may say umpire, but it actually says staff. Because we're going to use these safe shirts for scorekeepers, umpires, whatever. And this is just league only. League only. Or anything we run, a festival, or a different play event, like a basketball league or something. That's why we didn't want to put umpire, or because there's opportunities to work everywhere, so we wanted to keep it pretty generic. The dry fit, It's a mesh sub-dye, and those are $20. And you've got the black hoodies, 45, the short sleeve cage jacket, and the long sleeve are 40. All we're asking, the hats will be on the next slide. All we're asking is a shirt and a hat. And that's what those are. These are something totally separate. I just wanted to bring an example, but the hats will look like this, the umpire hat. So you'll have the white shirt and black and that. And I don't know.
Can they choose between the red and the white, or just you want to
Yeah,
stick
I'm
with
fine.
the white?
In leagues, yes. When we run a TPA tournament, it's a little different. We have to wear that stuff and
Right.
be uniform. But in this, yeah. And again, you're going to get it free. The cost doesn't matter. If you work the games,
Right.
you get them back. So we also have beanies that are on order. They'll be here all within about a week. So then when we talk about employees, there's employee conduct. Now, this is really important to me. Really, really important to me. And I need to read this as much as anyone. We'll remain professional at all times. I get mad quick. I don't really, but I do. And I know I do. And that's why I've separated myself from a lot of this. A lot of other people are a lot better at it than I am. And I know that. So we need to lead by example. Not just, we're not going to do that. Any major incident, and I'll say this, you'll never hear me complain about calling 911. We're not going to have it. We had a fight last year. We had somebody attack someone else. That could have went really bad. That's a bad way from being on SportsCenter, for real. It was awful. So I've thought about it a lot. I've separated myself from it. There's a lot of time that went past. We have to be sure that doesn't happen. And as umpires, that probably, we probably could have avoided it. I probably could have done more, and I didn't. So situations like that, we really want to figure out, ahead of time. But if something happens, it's 911. We're not the police. We're not going to separate people. We're not going to get involved in it. It is what it is. If you want to act like that, get ready for the consequences. It's that simple. It's a family thing we're doing, not the WWE or the Screaming Hog. We're not going to do it. And that's it. Employees must be uniformed at all events. We talked about that. And then any no call, no show. You're never working for us again. One time, barring something major. But if you say you're going to be there, you don't come, we're done. So we talked about partnerships. We talked about them earlier. You've mentioned a few. So we're currently partnered with New Albany Parks and Recreation, Clarksville Parks Department, Potter's Lane, this restaurant here, Tucker's. The Standard, which is the same ownership group, it's down on Manor Market, downtown. 812 Pizza, Georgetown, this was a big one for us. Also the same ownership group, it's down by Georgetown Park. Farrell's Pizza, Floyd Knobs, Charlestown Road, and in Jeffersonville. The restaurant's been in Georgetown, Indiana. The Hampton Inn, down here by the Sherman Bridge. And one of the newer ones, and most exciting ones, is Home Run Baseball Tournament. It says Jimmy McMahon and James Weber. So, what we're going to do, and we'll get to some of the stuff on the table here in a minute. We want to make the experience better. We say it's all about the experience. So how can we help teams? So we'll just talk about softball. When you show up, you should. We want you to feel, value in what you're doing. So we have the bags. Like Gary's going to have. I'm getting ahead of myself, but when you check in as a team, you're going to have a bag, and in the bag's going to be an ink pen, a marker, a scorebook. Coupons to this place, that place, all the places, brackets, things like that. You're going to get something when you check in. When you pay your fee, show up, you have to come get this. And I think that'll help. It'll keep everyone on the same page. We're going to have group meet threads. We do them now. We started them. They work great. So each event or league will have a group meet thread. The leagues we already do. But before the tournament starts, all the coaches get on there. It's not for chatter. It's for information. So if there's a rain delay, we can put it right on there, man. The coaches get it, and it's their job to disperse. Instead of calling 50 people, it's hard. Or everybody, well, I'm not on Facebook. I'm not. Well, this gets there. This is part of the. When you enter, you have to have this. It's pretty easy. But we are going to do a better job of working with other people to make what we do better. We've talked about live draws. So specifically here in 812, they want us to come set up. They want us to come set up with mics, cameras, the whole thing, podcast, and do the live draws there. The thing about live draws live draws, is when you're doing them, if you're airing it real time, it's really pointless. Nobody's gonna come. You know, if they're helping you out and you can do something, you come, you get this free or whatever. So we're gonna work on that, and we're gonna give maybe discounts to teams, everyone. We'll figure that piece of it out. Look for those things this coming season. League rule changes. Pitchers must wear a mask or helmet. All right. Pretty basic, right? We've seen people get hit. I've got 80 stitches. I've seen 3 or 4. We had rock almost. It's awful. Wear a helmet. Courtesy runner for the pitcher. That's one we're going to do now that we've never done before. So we have a courtesy runner. I will say this: if every time the pitcher gets on, if it takes 15 minutes to get the runner out there, we're getting rid of it. First day. We're not going to wait. Be ready. You know what I mean? Be ready. You know who the pitcher is. Be ready to run.
I think that a lot of it rely on the umpire too, making
Absolutely.
sure that, you know,
Yeah.
our umpires are, hey, let's go, let's get the game. If
Basically,
not,
you're going to have about 10 or 15 seconds. If no one's out there, we're going this
go,
way. Sorry.
we're moving on.
Designated home run hitter added all men's leagues. So we're going to keep 3 home runs. We're going to add the DHH. All right, I think the game's evolved. We're in our men's league, especially on the competitive side, it's just a lot of beating the ball down, a lot of, I don't know. In our class of players going, it's started 4 or 5 years ago, and now we've got some really great players playing in those leagues. We're going to go to 100% pre-payout leagues. We'll probably do a deposit on the site and then the balance on the site. We've got, well, that's always pay. Well, we have probably $5,000 to $6,000 in outstanding league fees since in 5 years. People won't pay. People won't pay. They want to pay, you know, and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be a butthead, but no one else lets you just show up and play without paying. All right, go to New Albany Parks, they don't do it. You pay 2 weeks out and whatever. So we have to get there. Because the margins on these things are super small. All league fees this year will include a dozen softballs. So we'll alter we're going to get our discount in the bulk rate. Because I mean that's 200
That's a big deal though.
That's 200 dozen balls for us over the year. So we're also going to hit the TPA ball. That's the plan. So I need to go get those. Like that's coming up soon. Unlimited women allowed mix. So before our mix, it caused a lot of issues this year. It was 6 and 4 or 7 and 3.
3, yep.
7 and 3.
Yep.
7 and 3,
6 and 4.
or 8 and 4.
Yeah,
Something like that.
7 and 3 or 8 and 4.
So here's what we're going to do. You can have up to 11 people. You have to have at least 3 women. That's it. Okay? So if a women's team wants to play, they got to get somebody to pitch for them. Because a man has to pitch in all of our leagues, men's or other than the women's league, a man has to pitch. So that's it. It'll dumb it down for the umpires and scorekeepers. It's one less thing you have to worry about or manage or even be involved in. You get 11 people, you have to have 3 girls. If you don't have 3 girls, this is going to make it real quick. You ain't playing.
Right.
They ain't no taking it out. We're not playing. It's that. If you can't get 3 girls on a weekly basis, do not enter the league. You know, that's simple. You get a 20-person roster, you know, you can figure it out. So here's the parks we use currently. The majority of our stuff was at Georgetown Park and Anderson Park. We run 4 fields. It's about 10 minutes away. It works well for us. We ran some events at Clarksville last year, Gary, 1 or 2.
Couple.
Then we do our Silver Street Indoor, which is under the City of New Albany Parks and Recreation. You see this on here. That's coming back this year. So I think it'll be 2. Show no mercy, 7 game guarantee.
Show no mercy, 7 game guarantee.
So, and when you talk about parks in the area, every one of these parks, in my opinion, is nicer than anything in Louisville. And I don't think it's close. Okay? This park here is phenomenal.
Yeah.
There's nothing close to it in 90 miles on dirt surface. It's unbelievable. And they do great. Anderson 1 and 2, the lights at Anderson are still an issue. I know it's being talked about. There was a COVID thing there. And then Georgetown, look for that to be resurfaced again. You remember how nice it was? It's still nice, but I think that's going to happen here pretty soon. Talk about some of the stuff, the philanthropy. So we do the Toys for Tots. I think I've seen most everyone here playing that, or be there for that. We partner with New Albany. It's one of the things we do with them. And I think we've given over 1,000 toys in 3 years. And that's pretty great, if you think about it. And that's all on the people that play, people that work. It has nothing to do with me, nothing to do with Gary. And we can't thank you enough. this is a big deal when you're partnered with who we're partnered with. So when you look at a parks department, they worry about, parks aren't a profit center, they're a service to the public. And they're worried about keeping the parks full, you know? Especially the city of New Albany Parks and Recreation. There's not a better parks department anywhere. I promise, they're so great. And we start thinking, you know, if we have 10 teams, and David comes down, he's gonna, on a Saturday, he's gonna spend $15 somewhere, whether it's getting gas, whether it's stopping at McDonald's or Subway or whatever it is. We can look at the number of people there, we can develop a metric and figure out, you know, what each event generates, and then if you total, you know, the aggregate of them all, you can come up. So our numbers from 2016, we ran a couple times with small leagues, was this, and you see it increasing each year. It increased last year due to COVID. We lost 40% of our season, and Gary had this much of a local economic impact. And then our goal this year is to finally hit 7 figures. It's important to me, and I think we will. And we run limited events. And this is just softball. This isn't anything else we do. We run limited events. I think they're going to be good enough that we can hit that goal. And when we start asking for favors from the Parks Department, from the City of New Albany, from the town of Georgetown, from the mayor, it's really nice to have this in your pocket. There's our socials. You're on the Facebook, the Twitter, YouTube, and then the group me. I think that's it. Does anyone have any questions just on what we looked at?
I don't have any question, but I do want to kind of talk about that, our GPE / TPA events. So when we run them for the umpiring, to get it right, they have to register for the TPA under that to run them events, correct?
Correct. Any weekend thing we run are sanctioned TPA umpires. They will have to sanction through TPA,
Okay.
wear the TPA attire. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. The GPE for our leagues, we don't require any of that.
Right.
I want you uniformed and you'll handle it. But usually the same people commingle, from what I've seen.
Okay.
You got anything, Gary?
No, you touched on it. I would just say that we want to do more than softball. So ideally, what I would like to do is have at least one event a month throughout the year, whether that's 3-on-3 basketball in the winter, flag football in November at Georgetown. I think most officials, it's a skill set. Once you develop it, you know, you can learn the rules and work all year for us if that's something you want to do. We have wiffle ball, basketball, hopefully flag football. So, and you can come be a scorekeeper too. You don't have to umpire. You know, just because you're sanctioned umpiring working with WAGs, if we need a scorekeeper and you just want to work some games, we can do that too. So, I think the goal would be to give you guys something to do or some ability to work at an event all year each month. So.
I think that's what separates us from most other people I won't say companies or whatever, people you work for. We do have things all year. We don't shut down in October and fire back up in March. You know, we have work available throughout the year. It'll be more next year, a lot more. Probably 30% of the stuff we do will be in those months where we're quote unquote off from any sort of a dominant sport. So I think it'll make Brandon's job a lot easier because he's going to be able to offer that. You can dress for free. We can pay you all year, and do different things, which I think is cool. Instead of the same thing over and over and over and over.
Right.
So yeah, that's a good point.
And also, if you guys have any interest in the technical side of things, we are going to be doing a lot of streaming, not only for softball, but for youth sports. So if it's something that you're interested in, we can start maybe training on that because I don't want to sit all weekend and do this. So we need some other people to learn how to do it. And that'll be another opportunity for you guys to get some work. During the winter, we're doing a youth event this weekend at Silver Street Park. I know they have another youth event. We have at least one more youth event. We do leagues. So that's just going to continue to expand this year. So if you're interested in that too, just shoot me a message, shoot the GPE page a message, and we'll set that up too.
Yeah, I want to expand on the streaming. Gary's done a great job. There's a big cost. There's equipment, there's time. And when you sit down somewhere from 6 a.m. till midnight, there's a big cost in that. I don't care who you are, you know, I don't care what you're making, there's a big cost in that to donate a day, you know. So when we do this, we have a couple ideas. We're doing it now until we follow, right? We literally had 8,000 views on a video the other day now. I mean, that's, when I compare it to softball, adult softball, it's crazy,
Yeah.
you know, with the youth stuff. But we can also, since we're a company, we can use this to help with this, you know what I mean? And we will do that. But what we're eventually gonna do through the webpage that Lindy's constructing, we're gonna have, similar to U-Trip, where you can, it's $1 to watch. You know, that's what it's gonna go to. We can't do it for free forever.
Right.
Gary's gonna be mad at me, and I don't want that. But with that said, when we employ people to do it, we can do, because really, you can dictate, and I've watched Gary do it. Gary does it really well. You can manipulate how many people watch. If you just got one camera sitting there and it does nothing the whole day, click go. When he's changing angles and advertising, and we have commentary or whatever, people like that and they watch it, you know? So someone, we would probably do some sort of a profit share or whatever on number of views per whoever worked. We could do things like that where people can make real money, you know, like real money, like good money. And we'd have to get, you know, we're in our infancy in regards to that. But we're going to learn, and by the end of this year, we will have it wired out. You can write that down. We'll have it wired out. I think that's that. I wanted to talk about Show No Mercy Friday night. We're doing a home run derby. It's $1,000 to the winner. We're taking 50 people. We'll start, Gary, about 7. And that night, we're going to have food trucks at Georgetown. We're going to have live music again, that kind of thing. And we've got some big names in that, you know, they're already coming. We haven't listed them all yet, but Chad's hitting in it, and Phil and those guys. So that'll be a great event, and Josh. We're looking at prizes. Last year, you know, we give cash. We always have, always probably will in some regard, but sometimes it's maybe not the best move. And we've talked about maybe doing a hybrid between cash and equipment. You know, here's 4 bats or here's whatever. So we're talking about that a little bit. Our MVP awards, we cut these on the water jet the other day. This is an example. And that's 3/8 aluminum. And that's probably, with the fabricating, it's a $150 award. We've got a lot of those. And we're going to do stuff like that, I think, to be a little different. We may powder coat those, like the poet pink or something like that. Some guys be trying to scrap that one. Up to the league, you know. I've got a box of those. So we're looking at different stuff and trying to give back a little more, maybe in a cooler way. But I think that probably means more, it would to me, than maybe a $25 gift card for winning. You know, I don't know. You see it, logo, you know, it helps us. I think it's kind of cool. So we're looking at things like that, just to differentiate from everyone else, you know, because a pair of batting gloves, you know, maybe being a little different. Is that all you have here?
Yeah, I don't have anything else.
Wags, you
I'm
good?
good.
Well, I want to thank everybody for coming, and we can turn this off and talk casually.
Okay, I was gonna say, I didn't know if you